Hi everyone, I'm Danielle.
And I'm Amelia.
Welcome to Sybil's Lab of Cartomantics. This week we decided to join in on another tarot tag, a more recent one, What Made Me Do It? So we wanted to share some of our collection and talk a little bit about what inspired us to build our deck collection the way that it shaped up.
Yeah, so this was a tag that Dragonfly Dilly, I believe is her name, put out a couple of months ago. So we're a little late in joining in, but hopefully not too late. And yeah, we really liked it because it goes kind of beyond showing off decks, which is always fun. Like there's nothing wrong with that at all, but into considering the how and the why behind our, like, what we choose to bring into our collection. And we really liked it, and it was an opportunity to talk about fun art and decks, and we're so excited. So yeah, we'll have all of the prompts. If you haven't already seen this tag, we'll make sure to have all of the prompts listed below. There are 10, and so that if you want to join in, you can as well. But let's why don't you get us started with our first prompt, Danielle?
All right, our first prompt is very apropos of what you're doing right now, TarotTube. The first prompt is TarotTube made me do it. So what is a deck that you brought into your life, into your collection, because TarotTube made you do it? I'll get us started. My deck is the Hardy Tarot, unfortunately now out of print, but it was a very specific tarot tuber, Katie Flowers, who used to own this deck. And I bought it when it was still in print, so this is several years ago. She no longer makes videos, but she's pretty fantastic, and her channel is still available. But she talked a great deal about her experience with Hardy Tarot and what she really liked about it. I'll show some of the minors. But I hadn't really, before this deck, done any meaningful work with pip cards. I didn't yet read Thoth or anything like that, and mostly was familiar with the Rider-Waite-Smith tradition. So it was the novel idea to me to get a deck that was very pips with feelings and much less scenic. And so thanks, Katie. She made me do it. How about you?
Mine is actually the Raven's Prophecy Tarot. So Ooh. I remember when this deck came out, I remember watching Kelly Fitzgerald's walkthrough of it years and years ago. And I saw it was so popular when it came out. And I know it's like a favorite of Esther's, and I see it a lot. I think Julie over at Peekaboo Rose talks about this deck a lot as well. This has been around for a while. It's very well loved. I saw it for years. Always kind of felt really wishy-washy about it. Wasn't quite sure. I thought it was pretty, and I liked the concept. And it wasn't until, like, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 years ago now at this point, I was like, you know what, I'm going to do it. I'm just going to get it finally, after seeing people rave about it for years and years. And I get it. It's a great deck. It is absolutely worth everything that people say about it. I think in particular was watching a video that Julie at Peekaboo Rose had done about this deck on the day that I finally was like, you know what, I'm finally gonna do it. And yeah, it's great. It is beautiful. It is Rider-Waite-Smith based, but it really kind of does its own thing in a really sort of powerful way. So that is the Raven's I gotta show this one. This is the Queen of Wands. This is a good card. Yeah, that's the Raven's Prophecy Tarot, and TarotTube made me do it after years, and I don't regret it. All right, so our next prompt is your heart. Your heart made you do it. So
all right. Yeah, I am obsessed with Tabula Mundi. It's the deck that I've used most. I was so excited when Belline said that she would be making another deck. I have a Rosetta Tarot, very Thoth, traditional, very Thoth loyal, but she decided to make a deck called Telos Tarot, posted on her website as she made each card. It was ritually created. And I was like, I adore you. I adore your art. And I'm so excited. I cannot tell you the emotional enthusiasm I had for this deck, how much I was just like compelled by the possibility of having such a unique and interesting creation from the hand of the person who made the deck that felt like a friend. So this very much felt close to my heart. You know, when you've been waiting for a deck to arrive, or you have some emotional connection to a piece of art, and you're like, thank you. Finally coming into my life. I don't know. It was my most used deck last year, even though it came kind of late. And I still use this deck every week, usually a few times a week. But I am so like enamored with this. I was so excited about its creation and the specialness of what she was doing. She calls it talismanic. I will leave that for folks to understand. If you get it, the little green book that comes with the deck explains it's sort of talismanic and magical creation. But I just use it as a deck. I do not identify so much as a magician. This is such a special deck. I like, it touches my heart just looking at the images. I don't know. I'm very excited to hear what you have to say, because it was so quick, this choice for me. And I was like kind of hating myself for being like, I'm so moved. This tarot deck, it feels unwell.
No, I mean, it would have surprised me to not see one of Mel's decks in this category for you. It makes perfect sense. So my choice for this category is actually the Monstarot tarot deck. This is by Julian Nelson. She also has done, what is it, like Cosmo Beings? And there's one other deck that she has. This is a cute, sweet deck. And the reason that I picked this for this particular category isn't necessarily the sweetness or the cuteness of it, but because of why I got this deck. So I have a 7-year-old, and he has been around me doing tarot his whole life. It's always been there. And around when he was 3 or 4 years old, and this is the mini edition, by the way, or the pocket, around when he was 3 or 4 years old, he started getting interested in my decks, and he would tell stories with what he would see, and we'd flip through and he'd pick his favorite cards. And so I wanted a deck that we could share that was, good for a 4-year-old at the time, and also that we could tell stories with. And so this is the deck that I picked for that. It actually lives in his room. It's really not technically my deck, but I asked if I could borrow it to make this video, and he said sure. And this is the deck that he uses and that we use together. So yeah. That's my heart story.
That is a very moving heart story. That's better than like, oh my God, I follow the creation of this deck online. My feelings, that's so sweet. When he reads, does he tell stories about like what he sees in the cards?
Yeah, we don't, he doesn't really know like tarot meanings or anything like that. So if he's got like some feelings to process, we might pull this out and say like what card,
Yes,
describes how you're feeling, or sometimes it's just for fun. We'll just pull some cards and tell stories with them. But yeah, that's how that works and fits in. And yeah, that will always hold a special place in my heart because of that.
Our next category is My Head Made Me Do It. I'm actually really curious to hear your version of how you came around to this. My head made me get the Alchemical Tarot Reimagined. So I do have the Alchemical Tarot Renewed. This is the newest printing, a sort of revised art printing of this deck by Robert M. Place. But I got the original Alchemical Tarot because I kept hearing and seeing references to alchemy in tarot, especially Tarot Volatile. It was a deck I got and used a great deal. And there are so many references to like Negredo and the different phases of alchemy. I had no idea what they were talking about. I knew that the majors of this deck in particular followed the process of alchemical transformation. This is in order, so I'm trying to get to some of the minors for people. But I was like, maybe if I get a deck that has that's called the Alchemical Tarot, so it's promising to explain it to me, and uses the minors in a way, or in the majors in a way that like sort of takes me through the alchemical process. I'll come out on the other side understanding the relationship between alchemy and tarot beyond like cartoon alchemy, because all I know is that you can turn iron into gold or whatever. Nope, still haven't quite figured out like the relationship between tarot and alchemy. I do, however, really enjoy the Alchemical Tarot Renewed. So when this came out last month, I snagged it and have been using it, but have very little association with like my use of the cards and the art and the alchemical roots of the representation of the majors. So I got this because I wanted to learn. It turns out that I've not done a very good job of that, but I have enjoyed the deck. Yeah, so I'm eager to hear what it is that you got, what your head made you get.
So I also picked a learning deck that, like, when I saw it, I was like, oh, I want to learn that. And that is the Oracle Belline. This is a French cartomantic system. There aren't very many books in English on this particular system. But yeah, when I saw that this was available from a US seller, so I wouldn't have to like go through Amazon France or eBay and, you know, wait for international shipping, I jumped on it because I want to learn Oracle Belline. It looks really exciting and kind of right up my alley. I have yet to really and truly dive in with it. Which is why most of these cards are actually still in order. But yeah, I wanted to learn a system, and this one looked really cool. So that's my head deck, just something I wanted to learn. I know this is a system that you really like and work often with, but it is completely new to me.
And it's really unique. It's a good... Yeah, you're doing a better job of learning the Belline than I am of learning alchemy. It's so crazy to be like, you know, in 2025, I'm trying to learn alchemy.
There you go.
Who knew?
Yeah. All right, our next prompt is the title made me do it.
So I'll share the Deleted World Tarot.
Oh.
Yes. Here is the cover of the box. This is it's still in print from what I know, but it is a Kickstarter deck. It wasn't only the title, right? But the title is what made me like click the link and look at the art, and the novelty of that title in combination with like this really bizarre and interesting take on the tarot is absolutely what made me do it. It's a beautifully written little guidebook. Here's the size of a guidebook. So it's a little guy, but it definitely reflects a point of view. My challenge with this deck, so the names of the suits are Pixels. Oh, what is it? Pixels, Illusions, Glitches, and Components. You know, I am not in love with renamed suits. The quartz are... Hold on. I have to share this. The quartz are scholars, messengers, visionaries, and architects. Also not a fan of renamed quartz. And yet I love the art, and I love like the mythos of the deck. It very much is committed to like the melding of past and future. But as you can see, it has reverse keywords. It has upright and reverse titles on every single card. I am functionally incapable of reading reversals. It's not some like principled thing, but I really use the art as a part of my language of tarot, right? I put together the stories of a spread on the basis of the relationships that I can see between the art. And I know that some people's brains work like mine, which is like we just cannot make sense of upside down images, and trying to like that just it stilts my flow of reading if I'm busy trying to do that. So I won't do it. which means that I feel like I'm not getting the fullness of the deck that I'm supposed to be getting. So I struggle. Also, the minors are 0 through 9, and the 0 is the 10. Like the meaning of the 10. It's wild. So I'm still learning how to use this deck. Like this is the 0 of components. So the 10 of pentacles, upright future plans, reverse entropy. I mean, it is wild. It's wild. It does have, like, it has a guidebook that is committed to explaining its choices, which I can always respect. I really appreciate that it wasn't let me throw future plans and entropy, but I'm going to explain how the art gets me there and what this is about. But like, this is going to take some committed, like, slow learning, and I've been too lazy so far. But doesn't that title get you? The Deleted World Tarot. So yeah.
No, it's one that I've seen often in like on Instagram and like on Facebook and stuff. And every time I see that, I go, oh, that sounds interesting. And then I will like Google it and remember, oh, right, it's that one. And it is, you know, it is not my style, and that's okay. But yeah, no, it is a title that draws you in. Okay, so my pick for this category is the Rhythm and Soul Tarot by Stacey Williams Ng, and I picked it specifically because of the title that indicated the theme of the deck, which is that this is a deck based in specifically the history of American music. And so she has reimagined all of the suits. Wands are the suit of jazz. There's the world card. The pentacles are the suit of roots, or kind of like bluegrass music. No, wands are fire. See, and this is like, I haven't used this deck enough, so I know blues are cups. Blues are cups. Jazz is fire. I'm pretty sure axes is air.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I am a huge lover of music, and particularly American music. I grew up on blues and bluegrass and roots music. My father is a big fan of those genres. I love, I also listen to classic rock. I play the banjo. I was also, as a child, classically trained as a singer. Like, music is just like ingrained in my bones. It's one of those things that is like, it's like breathing. Like, I couldn't imagine a life without music, and particularly American historical music. So this is the additional card, the rhythm. It is something that I have a lot of interest in. This beautiful queen of jazz. I love her. So yeah, this was kind of a no-brainer for me. I also love Stacey Williams Ng. I love her Southern Gothic oracle, and just thought this whole concept was fascinating. I'm not sure how it landed for me. And this is one that I've kind of been, I'm not so sure about. And I'm working with it, and I'm sitting with it, and I'm trying to kind of figure out where I stand on it. But I loved the concept, and the concept was really clear in the title, the Rhythm and Soul Tarot. And so I was sold just on that. But yeah, I mean, I love her artwork. She's an excellent artist.
She's
an
artist.
Yeah, and I think I don't know. I'm not ready to give up on it yet. I'm still working with it. In fact, for our next Sybil Unscripted, the movie we have planned, like this will be the deck, because it works perfectly for that. But yeah, this is the Rhythm and Soul Tarot by Stacey Williams Ng. It is still in print, so you can get it. And if American music history is something that is of interest to you,
it's kind of cool, because doesn't the guidebook have references to related songs? for the cards? Like they're,
Um,
I think,
I'm not sure if it's songs. I know she has quotes from musicians that are within. Yes, she does have a song for each card. Yes. See, and I really need to spend more time with the guidebook, and I bet I would really be with it there. Yeah, that is my deck for that category. The next one is The Art Made Me Do It. This is a hard one to pick a deck for because that's like all of them, right?
It is. So I chose a deck that like only the art made me do it because I came to it with cold feet. This is the Star Tarot. This is the second edition trimmed. It's a little larger and comes with gold edges, gilded edging that kind of hurts my hands. But like this art is beautiful. It's phenomenal. This deck is optimistic in a way that I'm suspicious of. There are a lot of like fairies and hearts and whatever, and this speaks less to like that being a bad thing than my predisposition. That's like both I like darker art and I feel like I need art that kind of satisfies that a little bit. I don't know. You know that I struggle with like inner child decks. There's something that's a little inner child about this, but look at the detail, like this 9 of swords. That is just gorgeous. So regardless of how suspicious I was of how much this would or wouldn't work for me, I think that's a good way to put it. It's not is it a good or bad deck, but I'm suspect about whether it will work for me in my practice. Like this, I'm not loving like angels and hearts, but it's so beautiful. The art is phenomenal. So I'm not ready to give up. And I'm curious to see it has its own take. Like this 10 of Wands, beautiful, unique. It's a nice, meaty guidebook that explains every part of the art. So these are very lengthy entries that are like, this star means this. That little, leaf you see in the corner means this. But like this 8 of Wands, I resist a heart. I resist a heart. And like, here's 6 of Cups, beautiful painting. I don't know, like a unicorn that flies. So the art means I will not get rid of it yet. I struggle, but sometimes it's the decks we struggle with that reward us the most. Yeah, so that's where I am with this, but absolutely the art, the quality of the paintings made me get it. I'll end with the 6 of Pentacles because this is such a beautiful, beautiful piece of art. Like, look at this. I think that not the color palette, but the nature of her painting style would go well with the Weaver's Oracle. Like, there's something about that figure that feels like it's like a little too cheery for the Weavers. I don't think the Weavers would have.
There's like a Lisa Frank quality to that deck, and maybe it's because isn't it on the box, or like maybe it's the front of the guidebook gave the card with like the dolphins on it, and I grew up in the 90s, and I can't not see like pretty dolphins and think of Lisa Frank.
Yeah.
No, but it is a beautiful deck, and that is one that I do not have that, but I have like waffled on it a lot because it's pretty, and it's Thoth based, isn't it? And we just don't have many of those.
Yeah, it is not RWS based, I would say that. And it's a little pippish in some, but not Thoth. It's a weird one, and I like that. I like that it's very much its own creature. So we'll see. But what did you bring to the table?
Well, this is hard because, like I said, you know, there are so many decks that you buy because it's like, oh, pretty pictures. But this is a deck, and I tried not to pick this deck because I've shown it before. I've talked about it before, but it is like of all of the decks that I have, it's the one that it's like I go to it for its beauty, and it is the Lacrimosa Tarot. It's just beautiful. It's just beautiful. It is a curated deck, but it it kind of like goes beyond curation into like isolation of the paintings that she picked. This is by Rosebay Tarot. That's her handle on Instagram, and that's her like Make Playing Cards shop. This is available on Make Playing Cards. It's just it's stunning. It's beautiful. I go to this deck because it's beautiful, and the art is really, it speaks to me. It's moving. Yeah. I don't really know what else to say about it other than it's beautiful, and I could get lost.
You did a deck for Sybil Unscripted, right? Like you brought it to that video and we filmed the Sybil Unscripted on Nosferatu. I cannot help but look at that now and see like the aesthetic and the quiet darkness in a good way. Again, I like dark, so like this sort of silent uneasiness of Nosferatu in that deck.
But like it is like the beauty of darkness. It's just, yeah, no, it is, she's lovely. And that's kind of, you know, but I also have found, even because there are some decks, and you know, I actually struggle, and I said this before on the channel, but I struggle with curated decks because I find them pretty, but like I don't find that they read well because they are just gathered artwork from other artists, and it feels a little bit like you're just going to an art museum, not reading a deck of cards. But you know, there's something about the curation and then just the isolation of certain elements within a painting. It still reads, and I have gotten just stunning and marvelous readings. You know, I've kind of been through so many cycles of grief this year, is particularly since I got this deck, and this is a deck that will really sit with you in moments of grief in a really beautiful way.
I love that. That it seems so true that it would sit with you quietly, that it would hold that space. You know, decks that are spare like that feel like they leave room for your feelings. Yeah. That is such an interesting, that's such a good point. An example.
So anyway, that's that.
All right, our next category is the hype made me do it. I'm really, all of these, I'm like, I'm so eager to hear what you're going to choose, Amelia. For this one, I chose the Circle of Doors tarot. It was the hype that made me do it. So some of my favorite tarot tubers, namely Racine on Almoon 513 and Natalia on Tarot Shrink, were going bananas for this deck. Most of the decks they share, or many of the decks they share, are decks that I adore. I am not big into photographic decks, but I trust their taste so much. And they were both so enthusiastic that I was like, let's give her a try. This is a big lady. She's the big one. She's bigger than the typical tarot deck. Linen cardstock and gold edging, which is normally not my thing. It works for the deck. I'm still not sure about it. So Amelia and I and a friend are going to be reading Women Rose Rooted.
Women Rose Rooted by Sharon Blackie.
Yes, by Sharon Blackie, and bring tarot to the book club because that's what we like to do. So this is the deck I'm going to bring to that. This feels very rooted and feminine. The things that are going to make me uncomfortable, I think will do it in a good way that fits with maybe the way I'm going to be unsettled by the book. So I'm hoping that that experience is going to help me work out some of my feelings or challenges with this deck. And I think some of the things that are challenging to me are things that I've shared with you before and probably have mentioned here, like, you know, I struggle with a pregnant empress. And like there should be pregnant bodies in places, right? So this is not like, why do we keep having, but this is the Danielle's got some stuff. So this is my stuff. And this deck is not, we're not shying away from any of that. And it feels like I need to be challenged. It feels like it's doing what it should do. So I kind of want to like, you know, write Racine and Natalia emails like, thanks ladies. Because you're challenging me. And that's part of what I love about you. But I do love some titles too that are loyal to themselves. I do not view card words as keywords. These are titles, which I sort of view differently. So the Five of Cups, grief. It is its own thing. I'm excited to work with it with you and the rest of the book club and see if I can make sense of it and get your guys' take on how it speaks. But the hype made me do that.
That will be an interesting one. Yeah, I've seen that one around and I totally get it. There is a lot of hype around that, and particularly within a certain kind of like style. And yeah, no, it is. I've pondered that one. Okay, so my hype deck is the Telos Tarot. The Telos Tarot. Because I mean, everybody was like so falling over themselves that Mel was finally coming out with another deck. And so I, of course, backed it on Kickstarter along with everybody else, and I haven't touched it since.
All the cool kids were doing it.
All the cool kids were doing it. And like, here's the thing is I love Mel's work. I love what she does. And I'm sure that when I get to this, it will be amazing. I just haven't gotten to it because I have to admit, like, I am less like you, Danielle, in that I like get super excited about an intellectual process of learning a deck. Like that is less exciting to me. Like I have my moments with it, but they are fleeting, right? Like I have my moments out of the year. But more often than not, I'm doing other types of work with divination. And this just has to catch me in that moment. It really does. And it hasn't caught me yet, but I know it will one day. But yeah, absolutely got this because it was like, Mel's coming out with another deck and everybody was so excited. So
and she'd been working on it for years and documenting the process. And yeah, no, that hype.
And here's the thing. I love Tabula Mundi. My favorite of hers is the Rosetta Tarot. But yeah, I mean, I have no doubt that this is a fantastic deck. I just need to get to it. I just haven't yet.
No, that's one of those, like, it's great when you have a deck and you know it suits your taste. You're not ready to work with it yet, but it's not like, oh no, I might not like it. You're just like, I haven't gotten around to that one yet. But like, I know when I do, I can trust the creator or I trust what's there. And there's this stuff that's like, you know, I trust the people whose hype I followed. I just don't know if this one's going to suit my practice or like meet my needs. So many things though, like pieces of art, pieces of literature that make me supremely uncomfortable. I'm like, I need to learn something. Like, I'm being hypersensitive. So I really think that Circle of Doors is going to bring something, but I mean, I don't know. We'll see. All right. Our next category is it dark side? My dark side made me do it.
Yeah. And there are like so many different ways to interpret that. So I'm curious to see how you did.
My dark side makes me do lots of deck shopping. I love a dark deck. And I have a lot of dark moods and dark stuff. So I process using tarot. I chose for this the Madhouse Tarot. The creator, Tarot Mania, has made a lot of decks. I do know that the title of this deck is a little challenging for some folks, and I understand why. But it is a very unique, this is actually Waite of the Waite Smith Tarot. It's unsettling. I mean, it is set in a, quote, madhouse, and it is meant to locate us in this setting and show the archetypes in a way that's rooted in what you imagine would be a little bit of the torture and confusion and frustration and fright of being stuck in a madhouse. Look at that Four of Cups. I mean, a person, this is challenging stuff. And I looked at these images and was like, yes, you have no idea. Like, that is, I was like, I am so terrified of all of that. Get it to me immediately. But it's a tough one. In an absolutely perfect way. It's so easy to find decks that reach for the comfortable or enthusiastic or positive of a 10 of cups, but like it takes a special deck that shows a 10 of cups in a frightening way. So thank you, Taromania. And from what I know, this is still in print.
Okay, well, my version of dark is a little bit different from yours. And this wasn't even, I wouldn't even consider this to be a dark deck, but this was a deck that I got when I was in a period of darkness. I was going through grief. And just, I was kind of grasping out for anything. And I picked this deck up and it actually ended up being really beautiful. This is the Soul Mirror Oracle. It's a mass market deck. You can get it anywhere. I know you have some decks that this artist also did. But anyway, this is a deck that, like I said, I got it when I was in deep grief, and I needed something. I needed anything. And these images are really beautiful. But so the titles, the way they've done them is that, so you've got priestess, that's the name of the card, and then there are keywords underneath for both the light and the shadow aspect of that. So you've got priestess, ignorant and wise, or devotion, indifferent and passionate.
Rita.
I know, it's a beautiful deck. Comfort, lost and found. And so, yeah, that's, I mean, again, I wouldn't call this isn't a dark deck, but even though the imagery is there are darker colors in the imagery, it's just, it met me when I was personally in a moment of darkness. That
deck feels like it accommodates darkness.
Yeah. Yeah. And I actually used this in tandem with the Lacrimosa Tarot.
Those would speak beautifully to each other.
They worked really well together. So, yeah. This is communication, stifled, and communicative. The artwork is really stunning. I really like it. She's this artist. So the book is written by Sunshine Connolly and the artwork is by Anna Novaeus. She's done a couple of other things.
Yes, I recognize that name. But you're very discerning when it comes to an oracle deck. So I know that I especially trust your taste because you are picky when it comes to oracle.
I am. And I like the book, but I find that the artwork and the keywords do enough for me. So this is portal open and closed. Anyway, that's a fun one. It's not fun, but it's a one. It is one.
It's not a fun, but it's a one.
It's a one. All right, inner child, a deck that your inner child made you do.
I chose the Sea Witch Tarot, another Kickstarter deck. I think this is still in print. I haven't looked for ages, but the deck is entirely, in every single card, the Sea Witch. She is what you see here, bottom half octopus, top half hooded and blindfolded. I could not tell you why. I just saw this and it felt like it spoke to the beautiful storybook images of a childhood tale, fairy tale. I don't know the Sea Witch character except for maybe Ursula from The Little Mermaid, but I love a witch. I love to pretend that I eat children. I try to convince Amelia's child all the time that I eat children. I'm not sure if he believes me, but I just love this deck. I don't know what it is. We are on a journey with her, the Sea Witch, through all of the ups and downs of tarot. And it's I think it would be good for a child. Like, I think your little one would like be down for these images. They are absolutely, I think, age appropriate. There's nothing that leans too into the adult, but it also covers all of the difficult and joyous ground of tarot. So it's absolutely, it was the child in me that was like, this Two of Wands. This is what I need. Yeah, there's something like just fantastic about this deck. I say all that, I haven't really had an opportunity or made an opportunity to use it yet, but I really am excited to use it when I find the right time. So absolutely, my inner child saw this on Kickstarter and said, yes. How about you? What's your inner child deck?
Okay, so this is a majors only deck that I stumbled across on Etsy by a creator called The Art of Madeline or Madeline. And this is a Muppet majors only tarot. So if you're not familiar with the Muppets, they are
and I'm sorry.
a band of puppets who were created by Jim Henson. So I, like, backstory here. I grew up, my father raised me on three things: blues music, bluegrass music, and Jim Henson and the Muppets. Like, these were the things that I grew up on. Like, this is the legacy my father has left for me. And so this is, I mean, this is my childhood. I love it so much. They're just, I mean, Miss Piggy is the Empress. I love them. And yeah, I mean, this is art. This is for my inner child. This is absolutely for my inner child. Animal is named, man. Oh my God. As Judgment, I mean, come on. If you're familiar,
Is Cookie Monster in the majors? Please tell me.
No, because this isn't Sesame Street. This is Muppets.
I have angry feelings.
So this is solely Muppets. So Muppets and Sesame Street are both part of Jim Henson's creation. Yes. But Sesame Street is its own thing. Kermit in the director's chair as the emperor. No, but I have to show the most clever magician ever is Jim Henson with Kermit.
Oh, that is so sweet.
So also, you know, on a serious note, Jim Henson's work that he devoted his life to, really inspired me in my work in theater for young audiences, particularly when I was first starting out. That was where a lot of my inspiration came from. He did a lot of just really amazing work in entertainment for children. And I mean, the Muppets were actually a show that was for adults, but I mean, his work with Sesame Street and all of those like projects under that umbrella was a huge inspiration for me in wanting to get into TYA or theater for young audiences. And so, you know, I just, that also speaks to that side of my soul. But this is my inner child deck. I love it so much. It doesn't come out super often, but when it does, we have a great time and we play, and I feel like a kid again. I feel like a kid watching the Muppets with my dad.
I love that. Oh, I love that so much.
Let me see. Is there any other? I mean, they're all great. They're all great. So, yeah.
I want this Sesame Street like tarot. Give me like Snuffle Up, I guess.
You know, I am kind of, you know, and I'm not sure if this is still in print or not. I'll be sure to find out and put it in the description box below. But, you know, Disney owns the Muppets. So I'm sure, although they don't own Sesame Street, that's still part of PBS. So I don't know. But,
all right, guys. Next category, Impulse made me do it. And I'll get us started. I don't know the title of this deck, which is a kind of weird thing to say. Well, no, here's the thing. I'll show it as I explain it. I was on Etsy just looking around at decks, and there was a deck that was clearly not like formally titled, but it was describing what it was, and I think it just said Prison Tarot. So I clicked and opened it, opened the link, and the deck, as it explained, was being sold by a man who's formerly incarcerated for nonviolent crime. And while he was incarcerated, had taken cereal boxes, whatever cardboard he could find, and made a tarot deck out of them. And drew them, read for his fellow incarcerated people, and I ended up corresponding with him on Etsy and having some fun conversations. Apparently, like the people he was incarcerated with were very into getting their cards read. And I just think it's phenomenal. I don't know. I saw it, I read the description, and was just like, this is so unique and bizarre and like cool, and I've never seen anything like it. He did it in the formal Golden Dawn tradition, so not Thoth. He titled things, instead of this being the Lord of Virtue, the Three of Wands, he did Established Strength, which is the original Golden Dawn title, before Crowley got a hold of the titles and started changing them around a little bit. I saw it, read the description, like I scanned the deck and made it right. I scanned the, I mean, just think of that. I made a deck while I was in prison with like pencils and cereal boxes, and I scanned it, and here it is. I was like, this is wild. Purchase, send, buy now. I don't know if it's in print anymore. When I like messaged him on Etsy to ask him the title of the deck, because it wasn't in the description, it was clear it was just like Prison Tarot to explain the background of it. He was like, I haven't decided yet. Like, okay. All right, sir, if you let me know. And the last I checked, he wasn't selling it anymore. We'll post a link in the description if it is being sold again. I'm not positive, but like, wild, right? I was not shopping for a prison tarot, and I had a sneaking suspicion that if I didn't grab it, then that I wasn't going to get another chance. And I also just loved the idea of supporting a person who was trying to do something so novel and cool to reestablish his life after being incarcerated. So I just thought that was neat. Weird, right?
That is so. Yeah. You need to send me some links. Okay. So mine, I have two modes when I buy decks. It's either I waffle about it for so long that oftentimes I miss out on stuff because I'm like, oh, I don't know. This. Y'all can attest. Like, I am very much a like, oh, I like that. And she'll go, get it. And I go, oh, no, because I have to think about how would I use it? Does it fit in? Like, I'm very considered. Or mode 2 is like Gremlin Amelia comes out and she's like, let me buy it. Like, buy it. No thinking. Just get it. So this was a Gremlin Amelia purchase, and this is the Antique Anatomy Tarot. It's just the mass market edition. So here's the thing. All right. Okay. This is a recent acquisition that was very impulsive. Like, I didn't even get it off of online. Like, I went to a bookstore to buy it because I was just like, I want that deck. And my local Barnes and Noble had it. So I like packed up my child in the car and was like, we're going. So I actually had the first edition of the Antique Anatomy years ago. The one that's like all bones. There weren't bottles or other things. There weren't flowers on it. It was entirely skeletal. I didn't like it. I didn't vibe well with it. I think I was, hadn't started reading TDM yet. So my brain hadn't like exploded on tarot yet. And traded it away and kind of didn't think twice about it. And like evolution of the Antique Anatomy Tarot is one that's like, I know it's always been there. People have been talking about her decks for years. And so when the mass market of this one came out, I was like, I had that deck years ago and I don't like it. Not knowing that it's basically an entirely different deck. It is nothing like the deck that I had. And I'm so surprised at myself for not having gotten this earlier, because it's great. It's a good reader. I really enjoy it.
And you like Pip. Do you appreciate Pip decks?
Oh, I love Pip decks. And I especially love Pip decks that do something interesting with Pips.
Yeah.
And this does that. And I mean, yeah, it's one of those that I can't believe I hadn't bought this earlier. But it like completely slipped off my radar because I thought I already had this and didn't like it. And hadn't realized that over the years it had basically morphed into an entirely different deck.
That's a surprise, though. And now it's mass market. When you got it before, it was an indie deck. That's a great surprise.
It is a great surprise. And I don't know, well, I do know what it is that just like made me impulsively go, like, I want that, is because I wanted it for pictures, actually, because it photographs really beautifully.
It does.
And then while I was using it to photograph some pictures, or to take some pictures for our site, I was like, oh, this is a really good deck. And I've been working with it a lot recently with the Southern Gothic Oracle. They speak really nicely to me.
Pairing. That does seem like it would be a good pairing. So that creator, Black in the Moon, is also coming out. She has something called the Memento Mori Oracle. She's re-releasing a deck, Oracle of Oddities, which is long been out of print, and she's reprinting. Those are indie decks that you can get on Black in the Moon, her website. She's in Canada, I think. So depending on where you're ordering from, the tariffs of the day are going to make it a little challenging, but her art is fantastic.
Yeah, no, it's great. And like literally the decision to get that was, I can't even remember what I think I saw it on Instagram and I was like, I think I want to get that, and just drove to Barnes & Noble and bought it.
I love that. And it's not, when it's a mass market deck, it's not a risky proposition, like it's not like decks are cheap, but it is much less expensive than an indie deck for you to try and then be like, no, let's find another home for this. So I love it. And it is beautiful. All right. Our last category, right? Our last category is choose your own adventure. Shall I go, or would you like to go?
You go.
I will share. So I chose for this Navigators Tarot of the Mystic Sea. What made me do it? We were at StarCon and there's a trade table, and it was on the trade table. So the free of it, like the fact that it was not going to cost me anything, made me do it. I had seen this deck before online and thought, like, hard no, like there's no way. But on the trade table, something is they're open. You can look and see if you like the art and then leave it or take it. And I looked through the art and was like, this is kind of interesting. There's something curious here. I thought I'd give it a try over the couple days, and I could put it back on the table if it wasn't a good fit. My edition is trimmed. The cards have titles on the top of them, and I hated them. So I just trimmed it off. I'm not sure if this deck, it's a US Games printing. I don't know if it's, is it out of print? I don't think it's been long out of print. I don't think it's too hard to find. I'm not sure. We'll put more information in the description box so you can hunt it down if it's something you're interested in. But I love it. And if you're interested in the Sephirot, in like tarot as it intersects with Kabbalah, you'll find that, for example, the 9 of Swords, the 9s on the tree are purple. The figures in all of the 9s are purple. The 6 on the tree is yellow. It's the sun. So the figures on all of the 6s are yellow. Ding, ding, ding on the back in case you forget what the colors are. But it is so weird and so cool. The creator of this deck has a series of 3 novels set in the world of this deck. There's also a guidebook you can buy that's separate that is an encyclopedia of a guidebook. Like, there is an entire mythos attached to this deck, and we all know I love an absorbing world of a deck, but it's unique and weird. It is defamiliarizing. Like, they're humanoid but kind of not. Have you ever seen a 10 of Wands like this? Like, what? That's fantastic. This 2 of Wands, very much its own thing. So yeah, I'll end with this 3 of Wands because I've never seen a 3 of Wands like this. Like, look at that guy. I'll have to.
That is a sci-fi deck if I've ever seen one. That is.
The majors are really fantastic and weird. So the majors are really phenomenal. And let me see if I can find this deck or this card to share, which is just a really fun one. The 3 of Pentacles. You know what's on the 3 of Pentacles?
Mm-mm.
It makes it feel very dated in a fun way. It's a person. There it is. On a desktop computer.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a card like this? No, never. An alien on a desktop computer? Nothing like it. All right. That is, and it is entirely what made me do it. It was free. The freeness of it made me do it, which is like the best. All right. What is your choose your own adventure pick?
Okay, so my category that I gave for myself was a deck I got to try to like expand my horizons when it comes to divination. So I am, and I've said this before, and I know I've even showed 1, 2 technically oracle decks here. I am not an oracle deck person, and like I struggle with them. If they're not something that's super cartomantic with a system like Lenormand or like Belline, it's like I don't know what to do with them other than like pull a card and journal about it. And like that's not like a bad thing to do with a deck. I really have struggled. I mean, when we did our 5 oracle decks to introduce me, I think that was like all the oracle decks. And so I recently actually reached out to you, Danielle, and was like, okay, give me a list because I want to expand my oracle horizons. I want to like dip my toe in here. And the first one I got from that list was the Compendium of Witches Oracle. So this was the deck I got to try oracle decks out and see if I like them. And I bought this one specifically because we have something, I mean, these are all humans, so it's like a 2-part deck.
Like
there are these,
right?
Yeah, you really get 2 decks. There are these witches, which are these lovely ladies here, and they all have stories, and they're kind of archetypal in nature. So we've got like the shapeshifter and the preserver, and the companion. So we've got that, and that feels to me more like, you know, an oracle deck, right?
Yeah.
So we've got like these kind of mythic quality, you know, yeah. And then you have the other part of the deck, which are, I think they call them whispers in the guidebook, but this is much more cartomantic. So you've got like, or kind of fortune tellery. So you've got the offering, teeth, cornucopia, rest, you know, storm. And so I got this one specifically because I was like, okay, I know at the very least I can vibe with this side of the deck. You know, I can vibe with mirror. I know what to do with that, right? And it feels really like divinatory in nature, right? But I actually like I love the whole ding dang thing. Like it is so much fun. And you know, I like the way that they work together. I've also pulled just one or the other out and you have used it in tandem to work with tarot. Like I think it does a great job of whatever it is that it's trying to do. And I don't think there are many other decks out there like that. And this is like starting to kind of open the door for me on like, okay, this is what oracle decks can do. Like this is how we can work with these. So yeah, that was my category that I created for myself, which is, you know, trying to get out of my stuck ways and do a little exploration. Because, yeah, for years I've always just been like, no, I'm not an oracle deck person, but I don't know, maybe I can be.
No, I love that. That is a mass market deck too. I think you said that, and was a Kickstarter deck that was picked up. It's not inexpensive, but it is like 2 decks. So, and it's really high quality, I think. It's a pretty nicely produced deck.
Yeah, and there's just, I don't know that there's much else out there that is quite like that does that in particular.
Yeah,
you can maybe get 2 decks and use them together, but this, yeah, the world that's created for these is interesting. Yeah. All right. So that was our hashtag what made me do it. You made it all the way to the end through 20 decks between the 2 of us. So good for you. As usual, we are going to close out with a reading for the collective. And our question this week is, what should we allow to inspire our actions this week? So we're talking a lot about motivation and inspiration in this video. And how can we like carry that out into our lives and think about, you know, what it is that inspires us to action in our daily lives.
Keeping out Navigators Tarot of the Mystic Sea. What did you grab?
I grabbed the Raven's Prophecy.
Ooh, those are an odd pairing. I like it.
The Navigators of the Mystic Sea is an odd pairing with any deck.
That felt very judgmental.
I will say, that deck feels akin to something like Tarot of the Cat People, where it's like she's created an entire mythology for that deck.
I mean, the novels are absorbing and big and very self-published and just like they are their own thing. Yeah, it is a unique and special deck. All right. I have the Knight of Pentacles.
I have the Queen of Coins.
Ooh. So a knight and his queen. I just love the coins in that deck. The roses. Ugh. So beautiful.
Okay.
Well, I would say, since we're both in Earth, like the practical, the visible needs to be what makes you do it, right? This is not a week of impulse. This is not like thinking your way there. This is very much the visual and visible, and it feels like some personalities are coming into it.
Like, yeah, you know, it's so interesting. Traditionally, the Knight of Pentacles is a very slow knight. That one looks so dynamic, though. He looks like he is like determined, and he has got his like his sights set, and he's focused, man. And I like that there is a specific drive that knight has. Yeah. He is going to make it there. And so I think, but then I look at this queen and like, all I see is beauty, right? Like beauty and like an experience of the aesthetic and an experience of the pleasurable. And so there's something there about like really fixing your sights on what you find pleasing and beautiful and like sensual, not in like a sort of like salacious way, but in a like our sensory experiences sort of way, and like staying focused on that. Like, how can you make your experience as sensorial and beautiful and like rich and full and luscious as possible, and like nothing else, don't let anything else come in. That's what
I love that. Fix on what is beautiful, what is like, what really is gripping and beautiful, and figure out what you need to like get there. Like, I really like that. Who doesn't love some direction that's like, go do the beautiful, go with all your senses. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us. We had a lot of fun. We hope you had as much fun as we did. As we wrap up, we wanted to remind you that all of the decks that we looked at today are going to be in the video description below, as well as links. And please check out our website, our Instagram, but on our website, we now have the Sibyl's Cabinet of Cartomantic Curiosities with a whole new set of offerings that are fun and weird. Sybil, our imagined friend, has her own shelf of readings done by both of us or either one of us. So check those out and see what is inspiring you, what will make you do it. And we would love to meet you in person. But in the meantime, we hope that you got to know us a little bit better through our deck collections. And until next time, we'll see you in the lab. Bye, guys. Bye.